So excited right now. I am joined by Benjamin Camras, the flirt coach, which we all need a little more flirting in our lives. So this is exciting. Benjamin, how are you?
I am doing quite well, Morgan. Very excited to be here on the show today and connect with your listeners and talk about flirting and more.
Oh, yes, all the things. Okay, so tell me how you became a flirt coach and what exactly that all entails.
Oh my gosh. This part of my story really began going on about 3 years ago now when I quit my 9 to 5 job. I was a city planner for a long time. That's what I went to school for. But I always knew I wanted to pursue something creative. I always knew I was an outside the box thinker, that the whole 9 to 5, just the lifestyle that comes along with that wasn't for me. I play by some different rules. And in exploring what a new adventure could be, I started to get into coaching and training to be a coach and what that even was and what that looked like. Started posting online on Instagram and TikTok about a few things. And one day I posted a video about flirting, and that's when everything stuck. And it was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is it. I asked a couple friends, what do you think about this idea? One friend was like, do what makes you happy. One friend was like, um, you only live once. And I was like, okay, not YOLO. Thank you for the advice, but not, I don't know, not quite what I was looking for. I was looking for
Yeah.
that enthusiasm, that like, yes, you got to do this. But you know what? I sat back and for the first time ever, just filled up pages and pages of notes and ideas about what I could do and how what this looked like. Yeah, and that's really where it started. And a little bit more about me. I'm very much an introvert. I'm someone that's very shy naturally. I experience a lot of social anxiety. And when it comes to making connections, not just if you're dating, but making connections in general, that's really hard for me. And it's my mission as as the flirt coach, to help people make connections. The ones you're going to make out there flirting and dating, if they're romantic, could be platonic, of course, and the connection that may be most important of all, and that's the one you have with yourself. Um, because all of your stories and experiences and fears and anxieties are going to come up in this process of being open and vulnerable and expressing yourself and tapping into your voice, right? Perhaps
Hmm.
being intimate with some of your own stories and experiences. So I love using the flirt as a framework just to empower people to make connections because I think that's what we need more of in the world.
Yes, we are naturally humans would like connection, right? But connection is also very
Yes.
scary, so it's hard.
Yes. Yes.
So, and everybody's asking the same question, right? Everybody who's, I should say, in the dating world specifically is asking the same question. Where can I meet single partners and how can I actually go up to them? What's the right
hmm
things to say? What do I do? So, what are
hmm
those like first steps you tell somebody, hey, go here and give this a try kind of thing?
So I frame the flirt all around connection first and foremost, because I think that's a really natural and beautiful place for it to start. And how I define the flirt is that flirting is the genuine expression of interest in the present moment without expectations. And so that is where I think it really starts. You could also think about it, and I share that the flirt can also be an act of service. Maybe it's putting a smile on someone's face, helping them have a better day, helping them just get into a better mood. Maybe it's a way for you to observe something around you. Maybe you learn something new about yourself, learn something new about someone that you're talking to, you're flirting with. So if the flirt can start from a place of connection, then I think it can evolve and become more layered from there. If you want to spice it up, make it a little more juicy, if it's someone you're starting to date or even in a relationship with. But the flirt is not, in my mind, like you see someone that you think is attractive you're out one night at a party, let's just say, and you just walk over to them and be like, so, I think you're hot. Want to go out? Like, that's what?
That never
That's
actually works, does it?
no. And that is not flirting. That is a very specific question that you are asking with one result in mind. Um, yeah, not a flirt, not a flirt. That's just a question.
I've
And
had a
not
few
a,
of those come up, and I
I
can confidently
know.
say they've never panned out into anything.
No. But if that started a little bit differently, maybe this person was making some eye contact from across the room. Maybe that you saw them and you started to flirt with the eyes a little bit, some body language. You're sort of dancing around this space. They walk over to you, approaching you from the front, right? Not tapping you on the shoulder or catching you off guard, but approaching from the front. It's like, say, I noticed you from across the room. You really caught my eye. I wanted to come up and introduce myself. My name's Benjamin. How are
Oh, I
you?
just got like little goosebumps as you did that. I was like, if somebody did that to
Yeah.
me, I'd be flattered.
Oh my gosh, such a big difference, right? And then you're
Yes.
making so genuine expression of interest. It's just looking to, okay, let me learn this person's name. Let me learn one or two things about them. Let me make some observations around this space. You're at the party. What music is happening? Who else is there? What kind of food do they have? What are we wearing, right? You're starting to make that connection in the present moment. So, feeling your way through the flirt rather than thinking your way through it, a lot of people tend to be in their head. They're analyzing what I'm going to say next. They're picking apart every little thing about, oh my God, the body language looks like this, or oh, they just said this, or ooh, last time the flirt didn't go well for me, so maybe this time it's not either. Let's come back to the moment, just feel our way through it. And then the lack of expectations piece, it's like, if you are coming up to talk to this person solely because you think they're hot and want to go on a date, well, then your flirt is very much one dimensional and happening specifically because you want this one thing to happen. Your flirt may not be received that way, and the other person may not want the same thing. So if you can let go of those expectations and just get to know a little bit about who this person is and let the flirt evolve from there, because the other person gets to receive the flirt how they want to, flirt back or not how they want to, really respecting and honoring who they are. It establishes that point of connection first and foremost, which can, who knows what could happen from there. Maybe it leads
Mm.
to a date, maybe it leads to, you know what, they're taken but they've got a single friend, or maybe you find you have a mutual friend in common, or you just have a really awesome conversation about a concert you both saw and you didn't know you were both there. Maybe that's the flirt. And why can't that be enough sometimes? You made a connection.
That's true. Human connection. I've never really looked at flirting in that capacity, and that's a cool,
Yes.
cool way to look at it. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of the flirt, coming from that side of human connection is also rejection. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how do people feel confident, say they're doing good to be in the present moment, but to make that connection is so terrifying because of the rejection side of it? How do you tell people like rejection is okay? What's this gonna look like and how can I feel about it kind of situation?
Yeah, it's that fear of rejection that keeps a lot of us from not flirting in the first place. That's what held me back for a long time. Um, and if you are I hope framing the flirt around these themes of connection and being in the present moment and not having those expectations can release and relax a lot of that fear around rejection. Ultimately, though, whether you're dating, flirting, or not, rejection is going to happen throughout our lives in many forms. And I love bringing a little bit of mindfulness into the flirt, helping it build your overall resilience as a person. That if you can experience rejection in the flirt, which is really just the other person not wanting to flirt back in the exact way that you want them to. We can't control other people. We can only control ourselves in many ways, our experiences, how we respond. Building that kind of mentality is going to help you in all areas of your life. You've probably heard that rejection is redirection. Yeah, that can be a good one. I also like that rejection is clarity, right? It's like you now are no longer pursuing a connection that isn't for you, right? Giving you some clarity, some closure around, if maybe you were on going on a first you were on have been on a few dates with someone is what I'm trying to say. And then, it sort of is fizzling out. You see the other person feel them start to pull away a little bit. yeah, it might sting and it might hurt, but it's very much letting you know, okay, well, now I know how this person feels about me. And so I hope allowing rejection to be part of clarity and closure and making connections sometimes too can be helpful as well. And I had a guest on my podcast say one time that rejection is sexy. Allow it to
Interesting.
be right. It's like allow
Yeah.
it to be. This will come over time, but allow it to be this thing that can be very confidence building. It's like, you know
Mm.
what? Because I put myself out there, I perhaps took a risk. I looked to make a connection. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to, but I still did it, and I did something that was really hard and was really challenging, and required me to be vulnerable, to
Oh,
be seen.
this is so great, but that's
Yeah.
hard. That takes a lot of time to get to that space
Yes.
of like, yeah, this feels good. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious on your theory here because I've heard from a lot of people like, dating and relationships, it's kind of a numbers game. You kind
Mm.
of have to make a lot of connections and then one day one of those connections finally sticks. Do you feel like there's any actual truth to that, or are people just kind of pulling our legs saying like, just put yourself out there some more?
Mm. I think you hear two schools of thought in the dating world. I think you do hear that it is a numbers game and that it is oftentimes about quantity over quality. Sometimes you're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince or your princess, whoever you may be looking to connect with and date. That is not my mentality or my approach. I would much rather you focus on quality over quantity because if you are going on just tons of dates a month, it doesn't necessarily, if you're not dating with intention, direction, purpose, strategy, right? Like it can lead to burnout is where I'm going with this. It can lead to
Yeah.
frustration. It can lead to overwhelm. It can lead to if you're experiencing a lot of rejection or you're doing a lot of rejecting yourself too, right? You're having to turn people down or be like, I'm not interested. Putting words to that experience, that is also really, really difficult. So it's true that it's somewhat of a numbers game. I'm never going to be the coach that errs on this side of quantity over quality. I would much rather you have a pond with a few frogs. I mean, you're probably going to have to kiss a few, but I don't want you having to kiss a ton to
That
find
would
the
be ideal.
one. My gosh. No, it's because so much about dating too is I know we've also always or also heard this phrase, it happens when you least expect it. Well, I'm not a huge believer in that either. That really makes dating seem like it's a game of luck as well.
Mm, yeah.
I think the bigger piece of that is timing. There is a huge timing element to dating, being perhaps in the right place at the right time, but also your willingness to make a connection, your willingness to say yes. It's your own timing and process of healing where you're at in your life. Not that you have to be fully healed to date by any means, but if you are not open, aware, and able to see the connections you can make around you, it's not going to happen when you least expect it. Like
Yes.
you have a
Oh my
lot of
gosh.
control over the process too.
I'm so glad you said that. As someone who has been single for a lot of her
Mm,
life,
hmm.
I have heard that phrase so often. And I just
Yes.
look at people, I'm like, I understand you're coming from a really good place.
Yes, it's well
But
intentioned.
you're expecting me to if I just sit on my couch all day that it's gonna happen when I least expect it. No, that's not how
Yeah.
this works. Like
Yeah.
I do actually have to go out and meet people and yeah, sure, maybe when I'm in an unexpected place that I didn't intentionally mean to meet someone, that's when it will happen.
Hmm.
But there is this kind of like fine line with it where I'm like, we should probably stop saying that to people.
Yeah. Yeah. It is not solely about luck and the universe just like one day shining upon you. It's because I know we hear those love stories where it does seem like a lot of luck is involved, perhaps a touch, but luck, truly, like the definition of luck is where preparation and opportunity meet. So are you preparing yourself to meet people? Do you have some strategy? Do you know what kind of questions you want to ask? What kind of person you may be looking for? How you like to make connections? What type of relationship you may like? It's okay if you don't have the answers to all those questions, but having some curiosity really good place to start. There's a preparation and then opportunity. Are you going out? Are you saying yes to yourself so you can say yes to the people, places, and things that may present themselves to you? Yeah,
Mm,
you got a lot of
yes.
control.
Yes, I like that. Now, also another theory that comes to mind. W- Do you know about the cab light theory?
Yeah. Oh, from Sex and the City?
Yeah, of
You know
course.
I do. I've seen that whole show multiple times over.
I've been rewatching it again, so it's been on top of my brain.
Yeah.
Do you think the cab light theory is true? Because in my experience so far it has been, but obviously I
Yeah.
have my limited experience and I don't know. Like as a coach, have you experienced like this cab light theory kind of actually being accurate?
I think there is some real truth to the cab light theory of like when someone's light being on, right? It's
Hmm.
yeah, it's like in which way are they on? Like it's about like how they're presenting themselves as well. Like that's I do think there's a lot of truth to the cab light theory. I
Okay,
do.
hey,
It's a
I'm
good
not crazy.
one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do like that one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I want to get back to flirting a little bit. So, say there's somebody out there who's just like very lack of experience in flirting. Maybe they're just getting back out and they did meet someone, say in high school, and they really never had to kind of put themselves out there and flirt in
Mm.
that way.
Hmm.
What are some suggestions you give them as like a first step to being able to kind of master the flirt?
Yeah. Yeah. So I get this question a lot, and there are a lot of flirties, a lot of people in the flirt community that are coming out of long-term relationships there because I'm in my late 30s now. There are a lot of people that I've connected with and worked with that are in their mid to late 30s, 40s, and 50s and beyond who were in that long-term relationship with someone they met in high school or college. And it just wasn't, maybe they had kids, they raised a family together, and it just wasn't the relationship for them. And now they're single again for the first time in a long time. So I think a part of it is just getting some experience. Like you're going to get your feet wet a little bit just to know how you like to date. What are you looking for? Do you want to be on the apps? Would you rather meet people in person? How about a singles event or a networking event or a party of some kind where you know a lot of single people will be? How do you feel about that? Can you see yourself in those spaces? Yeah. So just getting curious about how you want to date, starting to get a little bit of experience when you are feeling ready, and then knowing that dating it will always be there. Like you're not going to miss out. You're not too late. Like none of that applies here. You get to date in the way that you want to date. And dating will be something you do, but it will not be the thing you do. So if you're feeling like you need to just be on the apps for hours, or you need to spend like tons and tons of time on your profile, or you have to just say yes to everything, you're gonna probably overwhelm yourself. So just have dating be something you do. It's sort of like a part of your life, but not the thing. And then do things for you that you've always wanted to do. Is there a dance class you want to take, a fitness class, a writing class, something maybe around interests, hobbies, vocations, passions, something you want to do with a friend, reconnecting with friends you maybe haven't talked to in a while. And when you start putting yourself in places where you're there for you, enjoying yourself and having fun and looking to make friends, you might be surprised that how some of those romantic connections start to present themselves.
Oh, I love all these bits and pieces of advice, but the part that you were saying there where at the very beginning, you said it twice and I loved
Mm.
that. That was so
Hmm.
good. And I think it's really important to remember a lot of those pieces in dating. Again, at this point, I feel like I'm an experienced single person. So for some reason, people come to me and I'm like, honestly, I'm just out here just doing everything. I don't really have the answers.
Right.
So I really appreciate that you were saying a lot of things that I've mentioned before, and
Mm.
often one of those things is hobbies and putting yourself out there and just doing things that you love. those are
Yes.
the best ways to just exist in life in general, and then it helps you on multiple paths.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you're on social media, or even if you're not, you've probably seen videos about manifestation and being the attractor, even being in your celebrity energy. And a part of all of this is having fun
Mm,
and enjoying yourself. And if you're in a state of flow where you're not there to be perceived, right? You're not there to impress anyone. You're not in your mind thinking about how other people are perceiving you, how they are experiencing you, how they may be looking at you. You're there truly for you. You're in the present moment, no expectations. You're making some connections. Those opportunities will happen. And then afterwards, you may be like, oh my gosh, I think I flirted.
yes, it's so great. But also I can acknowledge it's really hard to be in that space too of like
Yeah.
living in the present moment and
Oh, yeah.
kind of being the highest version of yourself. Those are things that we have to work really hard
Absolutely.
to do. And
It's a lifetime daily practice. Absolutely.
oh gosh, yes. But you say it and
Hmm.
it's so worth it. You know, in those moments that I've ever had that, I'm like, this feels so great. And you want to stay in that all the time. So
Yeah.
I know it's worth it. It just takes a lot of
Hmm.
effort to get there. I kind
Yeah.
of I want to also talk about being a little Delulu because
Oh, uh-huh.
delusions are the greatest part of my dating experience. I
Oh
really
my
love my
gosh.
delusions.
Yeah,
Um,
Delulu is the Solulu. That's what I say. I have it on a t-shirt. Hmm.
okay, and so tell me why you feel like it's a Solulu and like is making some things up in our head or whatever. Are we helping, hurting ourselves? What's going on?
I mean, I am a gay Libra after all, so I am gonna be a little bit Delulu. Delulu is a Solulu until it becomes Tralulu. Someone commented on one of my videos that one day. I thought that was hysterical, but I think you want to have a little bit of fantasy with your dating life, some whimsy to it, to have dreams and have a somewhat visionary experience because I think this can be really, really helpful and just working through even some maybe deep-seated experiences like around fear or shame or trauma even there's a time and a place to work through that and maybe seeking out help from a professional, but being able to just allow your mind to go there and connect the dots and just dream and be, I think is so, so helpful. And it's a practice that I love, but everything in moderation. So, if you're sort of an extreme Delulu, let's say you make a match on an app and then, you traded socials and now you're connected on Instagram, which I'm not a big advocate for that. I'd much rather you
Mm-mm.
meet this person first because now you're on Instagram and you're being like, oh my God, did they watch my stories? You're watching theirs. Did they post but not text you back? Is their little green light on? Did they have that turned on? Can you see they're active? Like, how long ago were they active? But then they texted you back like 2 hours ago, but you have anyway.
Our crazy
Now,
obsessions that social media
uh,
perpetuates. Yes.
yes, now your anxiety is spiraling, or you're sort of scribbling X and O's in your notebook before you even met somebody,
Hmm.
writing your name with their last name. I mean, I've done that. I've done it. You're sort of picking out your wedding song, and it's only been one date.
You
Like,
know, but sometimes it just makes you feel really good to just
I
have that
know.
experience
I
for
know. Truthfully, that's why I'm like, who am I to tell you that that's wrong or bad or to not do it? Be a little bit delulu, but also recognize when it is truly fueling your anxiety, when it's making you feel insecure. Like if it's taking you into that headspace, we've gone too far. We've gone too far.
you know the reason that people always say I'm Delulu is because I really try and live my life like a movie. Like
Yes.
genuinely, I exist in the belief that I am in a movie and
Oh
everything
my
I'm
God.
going to experience is going to be a
Hmm.
movie scene.
Hmm.
And so that's where I feed into my delusion. So I'm like, well,
Hmm.
obviously we're gonna go on this like super romantic date and then always happens in that way and I'm like yeah that was like a movie scene and it
Hmm.
may end in a crash and burn but at least it was a really good movie scene.
Oh, my life is a rom-com. I'm like, oh, did they catch that on camera? I hope so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so that's where my delusions really feed into dating because I just think that's what's if you're gonna make me date and you're gonna make
Hmm.
me have to put myself out there, I'm at least gonna have fun with it. It's like this
100%.
the same level of like doing it for the plot, right? If at the
Mm.
very least my heart is gonna get broken, you might as well give me a good story.
I mean, you're not wrong. No.
I know
And it's
I'm a
like,
slightly unhealthy version of me. I'm aware,
well,
Benjamin.
and it's also like the phrase what you resist persists. So if you don't allow yourself to be a little bit Delulu and you're trying to just really like control it and not let it happen at all, I mean, it's probably gonna happen and like really come all out at one time.
Yes, you know the one saying that I do believe in is that like whatever's happened is going to happen regardless of what I
Mm.
do.
Hmm.
So, I can't really mess it up. Or also the belief that like you can't really say something wrong to the right person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are two things that I truly believe and experience. So I'm like, well, if
Hmm.
I can be delusional and he's okay with that, then he might work out.
Hmm. 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Those are all my crazy things for today. Okay.
I could relate to all of them.
Also, I love that you're a Libra. We are sisters. I am October 6th baby. So
Ooh. Oh my
we're
gosh.
in the season.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. When is your birthday?
Coming up very, very soon. As we're recording this, it hasn't quite happened just yet. Mine's the 15th.
Okay, well, happy early birthday. It's the
Thank
best
you.
best season, the best sign. And thank you.
Flirttober. Hmm.
Yes. There's so
Hmm.
many things attached to October now, and I'm having to keep them all in track, and I love it. Thank you, Benjamin, so much for coming on. It's been great to chat with you and learn all about the flirt and the
Oh,
connection.
yes.
That's been so special.
Oh, yeah. This was really, really a fun conversation. And thank you, Morgan, for having me so much on the show today. I can't wait to listen.
Thank you so much.